Hi guys, I hope you had a really good weekend. I certainly did. So last week I spent a few days down in Melbourne, which was fantastic. And as is tradition in Melbourne, I spent quite a bit of time eating lots of delicious food. So I actually wanted to share something with you that occurred on our way down to Melbourne on the flight, and that was to do with the in-flight snack that we received. Now, this is a pretty standard part of flying these days, and you know, there's all kinds of different snacks that you might get on board, but this one I found particularly interesting. And usually when you get snacks, it's either something healthy like a wrap, or it's something very, very clearly marketed as a treat, which might be in the form of a biscuit, an ice cream, or a piece of cake. But this one fascinated me from a marketing point of view, and that was this. Now, we received a few on our flights, and the reason this fascinated me was, me being me, I obviously flipped over to the ingredients panel and the nutrient information. And so what blew me out of the water with this one was the exorbitant amount of carbohydrates in this. And anyone who knows me or has been following me for a little while will know that I promote a low carb, healthy fat way of eating. And so you can understand why the nutrient information on this one really took me aback. Now, granted, this is just a snack, but this contains 62 grams of carbs per 100. Now, I know that you probably can't read this on the video, so I will take some photos and upload those for you to have a look at. So of those 62 grams of carbs per 100, 50.7 grams of that is made up of sugar. Now that means that this little snack here is over half sugar. Wow. Now, what I thought was really interesting, because you know, that's fine, lots of snacks and treats get marketed that way, but this one had sugar circled. And initially I thought someone had done that just out the backboard until I realized it was on everyone's, and I'm a bit slow on the uptake sometimes. And I thought that was really cool, because in the media and in the health industry, there has been a really big movement toward getting people to reduce their sugar intake or even cut it out completely if they're able to. And so I thought they were drawing attention to this until I saw something really, really cheeky on the side of the packaging. And that is this bit of writing here, which says, only naturally occurring sugars. Okay, guys, cool. Now, I know that this next thing might sound a little bit dramatic. That's because I'm dramatic sometimes. But guys, that's like saying that you only take things that are naturally occurring, so drugs like heroin are totally okay. The fact is that heroin is naturally occurring, but it is still a drug and is still highly toxic to your body. So is sugar. Sugar cane is naturally occurring. There is no nutritional value in sugar at all. Now, the only benefit of this is that it comes from fruit. But that still means that it's very, very high fructose. The benefit it does have is that there may be added fiber, antioxidants, or nutrients if your sugar is from a fruit source. So, I wanted to, explain to you, for those of you who might be confused as to why sugar is such a bad thing in your diet, as to what it does in your body and what it can cause. And some of the issues are that I see repeatedly in my practice is that it can cause things like inflammation, weight gain, hormonal imbalances, brain fog, and cognitive dysfunction. It suppresses the immune system. There are some studies that have shown, and they've been studying this back since the 70s, that if you consume sugar, it can suppress your immune system for several hours after consumption. It can also significantly reduce your nutrient absorption. So the food that you are eating, if you're having a lot of sugar in your diet, you're not getting anywhere near the nutritional benefit out of it that you could be or should be. It can also cause things like diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, through increased insulin resistance. It can increase your blood pressure For most of us, that's not something that's desirable. And if you are trying to increase your blood pressure, this is not the way to go about it. It can cause things like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And guys, I'm really sorry if I sound like I'm ranting about this, but it's because I'm super passionate about this. I see so many people coming into my clinic who are really frustrated about their health. And the number one issue, without fail, is sugar. Something else of concern that sugar does cause is an increased risk of visceral fat. Now, you may have heard about this a little bit in the media recently. There has been a bit of airplay about it. And this is essentially a layer of fat on your internal organs. And so we hear the term skinny fat bandied around a bit. And this is the reason why when you're looking at someone, you can't tell that they're healthy or not just because of how they look. Someone who's really slim isn't necessarily healthy. If they have a poor quality diet and a sedentary lifestyle, but they are genetically of a slighter build, they are a prime candidate for visceral fat. Now, what I can liken this to is if you've ever tried putting on maybe a pair of pants that is too small. So what happens is they're tight, you've got restricted movement, they become really uncomfortable, they rub, they might cut off your circulation a bit depending on how tight the pants are. And this is exactly what visceral fat is doing to your internal organs. It's essentially causing them to not be able to function effectively. And this can result in things like increased risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, cancer, depression, and other mental health conditions, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, obesity, sexual dysfunction, sleep disorders, and so many other serious health conditions. Now, I did mention fruit, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't eat it or that you should be afraid to eat it. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying to be mindful of where your sugar is coming from and how much you're having. So as I said before, one of the benefits of fruit is that it contains things like fiber, antioxidants, and other nutrients, which cane sugar is completely void of. And so if you are having a little bit of a sweet craving, it's perfectly acceptable to have a piece of fruit. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, we still need to be mindful because there is sometimes this mentality that people have that because it's fruit, it's okay. And we should still be mindful of limiting our fruit intake. I would recommend you have no more than 2 average pieces of fruit a day or 2 medium-sized pieces of fruit a day. So that might be a small handful of berries or a medium-sized apple or similar. So don't avoid it, just be mindful. Another great thing with your fruit intake is if you're concerned at all about the sugar and the GI or the energy that it gives you, is to couple it with a really good quality protein. So this could be a yogurt, a natural yogurt, some cream, coconut yogurt, seeds or nuts. And what this does is it takes the fruit from being a high GI food to a low GI food, which means that we have longer lasting energy. So it gets us through the day, a bit of extra brain power as well as physical energy. And one other tip that I have for you is if you are consuming something sweet, especially if it is fruit with a little bit of protein, sprinkle some cinnamon on there. That will help to regulate your blood sugar levels. So guys, sorry about the rant, but I want the best for you and your health. So peace, love, and wellness.